Kylan Boswell coming to
Yeah.
Illinois. How about that? I think we all knew this was going to happen. I think the only way it didn't happen would have been the thing where teams come in out of nowhere and steal a player from somebody, but that didn't really happen here. It felt like it was going to be a Illini from the start, which makes sense given his recruiting out of high school. Illinois losing out on him to Arizona. He reclassed. He was a 4-star point guard coming out, one of the better point guards in the class, despite being 17 years old at the time. And I would be curious to see how having a real point guard is going to change Underwood's philosophy and offensive approach after a season where they clearly didn't have like a real true point guard, and it was talked about so much
all the time. Yeah.
And
all there was.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, I mean, they got to the Elite Eight without a real one. So I feel like it was talked about. One specific person in the media I can think of that literally constantly brought it up and said that was, ceiling altering for them, which I don't think ended up being the case, because I think if Illinois had a true point guard, they still would have lost to UConn in the Elite Eight. So
yeah, I don't think that would have mattered much.
I got to put a hat on. This hair is I had it gelled up last time.
Yeah.
Was backwards hat look better? I'm still young enough. I'm still young and hip.
Yeah, you can still pull that off.
No, it looks stupid. This looks dumb too. All right, no, this. Right.
Yeah. So Kylan Boswell. Anyways, yeah, it'll be interesting. True point guard. Illinois hasn't had that. I think it moves Ty into a better situation where he's not the point guard. I know that he ended the year not really as the point guard, but to see what Illinois' offense is, I mean, Kylan's a big body guy. I don't know if they're going to try to booty ball with him. He's a little too small. He's not 6'6" like the mask, but it's exciting. I think he's so young that he could have that leap that most kids get after their sophomore year. So I think his birthday's this week. So happy birthday to him, by the way.
Yeah. I wonder if he can turn himself into an NBA prospect at Illinois. And I think it would maybe take 2 years to do that.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting. I mean, you look at the numbers. He had some shooting spells that weren't great, but still shot it, pretty well. I believe in the middle of January, he was 37.5% on mid-range dribble jumpers, 24 attempts, and 33.3% on dribble jumpers beyond the arc, 36 attempts. That's from Sports Illustrated's evaluation. Quote, balanced, sound footwork, fluid energy transfer, and can get into his dribble jumper quickly out of the pick and roll. So I think Illinois is going to need somebody at the 5 that can set screens and move and be maybe not a true 5, but something close to that, not a 5 out. They're definitely not going to do that this year, I wouldn't think. It would be kind of surprising if they were to do that, because I don't know if that would be the best spot for Boswell as a player to be managing that type of offense.
Yeah, in what Brad has done, I mean, his offense has never really needed a true point guard, so it'll be interesting to see if they start running stuff through a point guard to distribute, or if they're going to run the weave into handoffs into what. So I think there's a huge upside here, which is great news.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to look at his team from Oklahoma State, just the numbers there, because I just don't remember the last time Illinois had like a true point guard that was high level, I would say.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've had one under Brad when it's mattered. Like, I don't think Frazier was a true point guard.
Yeah.
He wasn't really a guy who's running the offense and making, decisions and passing. I mean, Juwan Evans, I don't really remember the tape there, but obviously he was, elite in the 1 year under Brad, had 6.4 assists. So I would say that would qualify as a true point guard, 6 foot guard with 6.4 assists per game. So that would be something maybe that people should watch. Go watch Underwood's offense, which is number 1 in efficiency at Oklahoma State. Had Juwan Evans, who is an elite point guard. at the college level. So that might be something I'd have to do in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I think one of the big things here is that he's still really young. And I think if your decisions in the portal, like how badly you want a point guard or not, I think this was the number one target no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, if he was entering the portal, they wanted him badly out of high school, which we've seen that a couple times where players they lose out on in high school, they go after again in the portal, whether they hit or miss. I mean, Shannon, I think, was a guy that they went after out of high school, and obviously he went to Texas Tech, ends up coming here. Probably wasn't going to come here if it weren't for Michigan. If we're going to, be honest about that, people might want to deny that, but I think that's the truth. I don't think Juwan Howard needs to say it after losing to Illinois for the 100th time, but yeah, this is a good get. Like, I think during this season watching him, I talked about him a lot, and I think he was it was a weird fit at Arizona just because of all the guards they had last season in front of him, especially reclassing was kind of weird. Probably not the right decision. It's usually not the right decision depending on the player, but he kind of struggled down the stretch. He had some big games. I mean, I talked about it in the last episode. He had some good games against good opponents. Like, he was pretty good against Alabama and a couple other opponents. So I think we should be excited about this. I don't think anybody should be saying, "Oh, he's too small." No.
This isn't like getting Trey White. Is that what you're saying?
You know what? I think the Trey White thing is interesting just because I listened to LaTulip with Werner, and I thought he made a good point. And I thought he basically said Trey White has not had good coaching in college, and the teams he was on, like Louisville's a disaster, and obviously USC. I mean, infield, there's a reason he did the Shaka Smart thing and left before he got fired. Like, they got so much talent at USC, and only 1 year they had any sort of success, really, and just really underachieving. So I don't think infield's like an elite power conference coach, which is why SMU, I think, is going to be the absolute basement of the ACC for a while. So I've never not been willing to give Trey White a chance. I just think that the role that he's playing on this team is probably not going to be like, I don't think he's going to start. Like, if he's starting, I think we might have a problem.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen people, mark him in as a starter. I don't know if I see that necessarily, but
if he can play defense, then yeah, I'll listen to it, but I just don't know.
Right.
I also don't know if Ty Rodgers can play defense anymore. Like, that's a little confusing what we saw from him this year.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's just say this. I think that they're going to miss Shannon's defense in spots next season.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
But I mean, say what you will about their defense last season. I mean, Shannon was great at it. So, and he missed some games, but yeah, Boswell, good get, why not?
Great get.